How's it? Today is April 15th. It's Wednesday. And today's training session was very long. I wasn't expecting it to be this long. I am quite gassed right now. I did push presses, some pin front squats, overhead presses, the winning warm up, the captain cool down, if you will. Caps cool down. Whatever. And then I did some back squats, like some tempo back squats to feel my hip tracking properly. So this week's push press was 3 top sets of 5 with 10 total sets. Last week I did 10 total sets working up to a heavy set of 5, like one single set of 5. And so this week I kept that top set the same and just pushed extra sets there. So intensity didn't change, but volume changed quite a bit. Basically tripled my top end volume. So it's just a way to kind of change alter the programming. These aren't particularly difficult, given the shape I'm in. I think they were challenging. Only literally the last set. But I think it's the condition I'm in with my kind of screwed up hip and training from home and everything. So there's all of that. Some good things that happened in today's session where my upper back didn't really hurt until I started doing the pin front squats, which I full 100% expected would happen. And it literally happened maybe on the last 3 sets of the total 7 sets that I did. So I'm pretty happy with that. Here's my last set before my top set. You can see that pushing through there is not challenging at all. I also took it upon myself to catch the weights. I think I caught the weights last week too, but this week with the extra volume at the top set, I wasn't sure if I would be able to do it, but I did. I'm pretty happy with that because a few months ago, catching any amount of weight from the overhead position straight onto my shoulders didn't feel good at all. It put a lot of pressure on my mid back, which is the same issue that I mentioned earlier for the pin front squats, but I'll talk about it a little bit later in the video. Yeah, these are a little challenging. You can see that I'm pretty tired here, but there was no doubt in my mind that I would make them all. And yeah, the rest periods between a lot of these sets was very little. I want to say on average less than 2 minutes. And then maybe the top set I rested maybe 3.5 minutes between each. But kind of breezed through all of that. And then I thought I was about halfway done with the workout, but that was not the case. So, yeah. One thing I really trying to focus on here for the drive out of the dip is keeping my knee, my right knee, specifically kind of lateral of where my toes are pointed. You can see sometimes it drifts, so it drifts forward and then I push it out. But that's to kind of cue something more similar to how I'm trying to squat, instead of letting my knees just track wherever they want to track. And I'm pretty happy with, again, how everything felt. So, yeah. That's the last set. And then I moved into the pin front squat. So this is kind of a precursor to how everything was going to look. This was kind of just figuring out the correct height. And I think this is it. If anything, I could go just a little bit lower, but I don't have too many options to make it just a little bit lower. So these were programmed in because my squats on Monday were bad. So when I when I finished the workout on Monday, I didn't actually have too much volume on pushing with my legs because that whole hip issue when I sink down into the hole is just giving me lots of trouble. So he put these in for me today for the extra leg work. His coaching tips were to drive and explode from the bottom. So you can see I try to go much quicker up and then slow eccentric. I do it better on some reps and I do it worse on some reps. It's kind of how it goes. But I push up 10 pounds each set until I get to 275. 275 is the weight that I actually did the back squat. The back squat, pin squats that I did on Monday. So I'm pretty happy with getting to 275 today on the front squat. It's way more challenging here on the front squat. You'll see on the last set that I actually almost wasn't able to do a total of 5 reps, but I stuck with it. I persevered, and yeah, I did it. I wasn't really thinking about how my hip was feeling through all of this because it wasn't even a large concern of mine. But I do know that I was trying my best to push my knees out so that, again, they wouldn't cave into valgus. Especially from this position, it would be very sad for me to cave into valgus at such a high position in my squat. So it was of paramount importance for me. The eccentrics are what is killing me here. So here's my second to last set. Yeah, the eccentrics are what's killing me here because I basically cannot breathe for that whole time, and so it's giving me some issues on my upper back. You can see there I'm definitely feeling it in the upper back here. I'm starting to have my hips move forward while my upper back kind of pushes backwards, and that's never a good sign for me specifically. I guess in general, it's not a good sign either. Here's my final set. Able to push up really quickly. This is the only set that I actually have to re-rack each individual rep. I kind of, going into it, I didn't think I was going to be doing this kind of re-rack thing, but I don't know, something overcame me and I just had to do it this way. So I think that was my 4th rep, and then here's my 5th rep. So this is the one that I mentioned earlier. My upper back was hurting. Everything kind of just didn't feel great, and I almost couldn't push up here. So yeah, pretty proud of that actually though. From there I moved into some overhead presses. I know it says this is the 3rd set of 125. I actually started at 130, and I did 1 set there, and I knew there's no way on earth I would even get a 2nd set, so I dropped the weight, and 125 proved to be plenty difficult. So yeah, halfway through the workout, I remember that I was supposed to be doing the upright row. And last time I did the upright row, I did it with just the bar, but today I did it with the band instead because I thought it was going to be easier. I remember how impossibly hard it was for the upright row with just the bar, and I'm not entirely sure if that would have been easier or not. It probably would have been easier with just the bar, to be honest, but I committed and I was like, you know what, whatever, I'm going to keep it this way for all 4 rounds. And I can finish it up with the tricep press down. I did all 4 rounds for a total of 100 reps of each exercise there. Here's the tempo back squat that I mentioned earlier to kind of drill squat technique so that my right hip specifically, can actually work. We're thinking it's probably like a hip flexor issue. So I've been working on some hip flexor stretches, some hip flexor strengthening as well. All of these squats, none of them were painful at all. So I'm pretty happy with how these went. And at the end of this, I kind of bring my feet in back to normal width, and I execute a normal squat here. And this was actually a really good feeling as well. So I'm not sure if speed isn't a factor or weight is a factor, or if it's some combination of both, but something I'll look into moving forward. And that will conclude it for today.